John and Ken Show. John Cobell and Ken Shampoo.
All right, check out johnandken.com because we post up almost every day if we've got them. Petition signings to repeal the dreaded DREAM Act. There are a couple that already were held today. There is going to be one that you can check out tomorrow in San Dimas and one in Ventura County in Thousand Oaks on Sunday. So go there. Believe me, sooner or later, the petitions are coming to a neighborhood near you. Go to johnandken.com and stay up to date that way. And I think later on this week, perhaps Thursday, is going to be one of those big signings where it's going on like 6 or 7 places around Southern California. We'll bring you up to date on that. Well, Jerry Brown finally let the world know what everybody knew last Thursday into Friday and waiting for him to say that he wants to take more of your tax money.
He's got a new referendum on the ballot, and it's exactly what was expected.
Well, it's not on the ballot yet.
Well, he's going to get it on the ballot.
Yeah, the union hacks will run around collecting the signatures.
All this tax money is for the unions. If the unions are spending millions on signature gathering, it means they're getting most or all of the tax revenue that's flowing in.
But has he figured out how to keep the other tax measures off next year's ballot? Because that's going to really screw people over, and they're going to be like, oh, the hell with all of you.
When he didn't announce...
Because they're going to look at that and go, they all want my tax money for every different reason. No. And there's 5, right, or 6?
There's actually 6. And we thought on Friday, when he didn't announce his tax increase referendum, that maybe he was trying to work it out with all the other groups that want to jack up your taxes. That turns out not to be the case.
No, he hasn't changed a thing about his plan. Just to go through it briefly, millionaires and high-income earners will pay up to 2% higher income taxes for 5 years. He likes to put this like Obama does. No family making less than $500,000 a year will see their income taxes rise. In fact, fewer than 2% of California taxpayers will be affected by the increase. But we told you before, that's a critical group of taxpayers that already is providing too much tax revenue to Sacramento. It's very dangerous to go down this path because it often leads to budgets being out of whack. How many times have we told this story?
I have seen this in newspaper headlines, and I see it in his press release here.
Yeah.
That you'll pay 2% higher income taxes? No. It's 2 percentage points higher. Because people are going to say, oh, it's 2%? That's no big deal. If your tax bill increases by 2%, no one's going to.
Yeah, it is misleading.
2 percentage points higher. So if let's say you're in a 9% tax bracket, you go to 11%.
Everybody's got to give a little.
Every dollar, over $500,000 a year.
2 out of 9, that's like a 25% increase.
Exactly. So, but the Los Angeles Times in its headlines repeatedly puts a 2% increase. He puts it in his stupid press release, and you're going to see in the papers tomorrow, it's going to say the wealthy are going to pay 2% more. No, they're going to pay 22% more or 25% more, however it works out exactly.
Yeah, that is misleading. There will be a temporary 1.5 cent increase in the sales tax. And again, that's playing it down, too, because it makes you think, every time I buy something, it's just an extra half penny? Well, not exactly.
They raised a temporary tax.
If you spend $1, it'd be an extra half penny.
Yeah, they raised a temporary tax 2.5 years ago. And it was supposed to be for 2 years. And then as soon as it was expiring, they went on a campaign to extend the temporary tax, to make it a little more temporary. And they're doing it again. All these temporary taxes, as soon as they end, they want to extend them. A temporary tax followed by another temporary tax followed by another one. And then he says, this initiative dedicates funding only to education and public safety.
No, not that again.
Okay. Education
That's half the budget anyway.
Is the teachers union. Yeah, I mean, half the budget is
spent on school.
K through 12 and then the university system. So, when we're talking about education, if it goes K through 12, we're talking about teacher salaries because that's 80% of the education budget. 80%, and we've told you a million times, California teachers are second highest paid in the nation as a whole on average. So they're getting plenty of money. They're getting more money than any other teachers in the nation except for New York, and New York is just a tiny smidgen ahead of us. So for practical purposes, they're among the highest paid. Public safety, well, what are we talking about here, public safety? Are we talking about that freaking prison system? Are we talking about the prison system where we spend 2.5 times per prisoner what any other state does?
And cops and firefighters.
Yeah, but how many? Yeah, but that's union stuff then.
Well, of course, yeah.
I mean, how many state firefighters are there? That's not a huge percentage of the budget.
Cal Fire, no.
Yeah.
Then you got CHP.
And the CHP, they all can retire at 50 with 90% pensions. And that's included after they cash in their overtime, their sick time, their unused vacation time, their uniform, their shift differential. Those cops and firefighters are walking away with a fortune. They are in the city level, the county level, the state level. You cannot give any more money to law enforcement, public safety, however they're going to want to call it, right? Prison Guards Union is raping us blind. So if this is $7 billion for the teachers union, the prison guards union, the cop union, the firefighter union, and whoever else is in the mix, you have to say N-O-F-U.
N-O-F-U.
That's right. No foo.
No foo. Oh, that should be our rallying cry for next year's tax revolt. No foo. No foo. It rhymes with tofu.
That's right. So this is complete nonsense. And go back to what Ken said earlier. The top 1% in the state is already paying 40 to 50% of the income taxes. And because there's such a reliance on the wealthy and because their income varies so dramatically from year to year,
it's not good budgeting.
The reliance on the wealthy leads to massive budget deficits because the wealthy don't make enough money consistently to match the spending.
There's not enough of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they provide so much money that if any of that shifts, it completely unbalances. That's why you need to tax the masses evenly. That way the money flow is evenly. That's why they talk about how the sales tax is a better way to grab money, even though we all have to pay it and we all hate it. That's actually the truth. If it comes down to just trying to tax the millionaires, you're going to see that wobble too much.
No,
And then, as we found out with Gray Davis, and even probably before that, when you have a good boom, they budget like it's going to last forever, like idiots. So we have huge deficits. This time we haven't been able to get rid of them.
See, most people are middle class and lower. So they have fantasies on how the wealthy live or how the wealthy make their money. And most, even chief executives aren't paid. You know, we hear about a guy who's worth $1 billion. It's not like he gets a salary of $280 million a year. They don't. Their salaries are relatively low. They're usually a few $1 million a year.
Yeah, there's bonuses and stock options and all that crap.
It's the stock. It's their investments. It's the stock they own in their own company. I've met a couple of billionaires. Their wealth does not come from a paycheck that they get every 2 weeks like you and I. Their wealth comes from owning a company.
Which is beholden to like a business cycle.
And yeah, so what they do is they cash in their stock from time to time. They cash in stock options. They borrow against the worth of their company. You know, there's different ways to do it, but they're not getting a paycheck. And when their company's stock value goes down, which happens in a recession, they're worth a lot less. They're not cashing in their stock. They can't access their stock options because you can only do that if the option hits a certain price. So they make a lot less money. There's less capital gains tax for the state to get. And by the way, Jerry Brown knows this, and so do all the other asses know this. But he can't sell anything else.
He's taking the easy route, and he's trying to capitalize on the whole Occupy movement, which was out there with their tax the wealthy signs left and right. Because right now he probably believes there's a fervor to do that, and he can at least get this passed next year.
I'm sure the Occupus were arousing Jerry Brown in his feeble old mind. He was getting hippie flashbacks to the 60s and 70s.
All right, when we come back, we turn our attention to something we just have to stop in 2012, and that's the high-speed rail system. There are hearings that have begun in Sacramento. Actually, they're back in session for a couple of weeks here before the holidays, and there's actually a committee in the state Senate taking a look at the high-speed rail business plan, the one that's upwards over $100 billion now of probably almost all your tax money that they want to spend on this boondoggle. We got a lot to tell you about, including how much they've spent so far just on public relations. And some of it has gone to the worst cronies, the worst political hacks.
John and Ken Show, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.